one is kind of difficult to disarm. Okay, also this pop here. Right, this one here. What this is you are disarming another opponent who has nunchucks. To think, or you could even be blocking another weapon. Hopefully not a knife or sword. Okay? This motion, what it is that this is catching at or near the rope, going over it. Okay? It would look like this as you have caught it. Okay? Right? And they typically still have their hand on the other one. And this downward movement, much like you're tucking your body when you do a neck crank, this downward movement is much harder to resist because it is you typically pulling away from the thumbs. This downward movement and then here. Okay? So that is the technique. Okay? And that is also why it is important to have already gotten familiar with the strike here, okay, as it is in my previous videos. Now, there are some forms that practice different techniques with the nunchaku. You have to look at the application of where it came from and what moves that they did. Like, for instance, I don't particularly practice throwing the nunchuck behind the back of the head, okay, because it's not really part of any of the forms that I really practice. Okay, so I've been training with nunchaku for a very long time, and I still sometimes pick up new techniques or movements. Like recently, within the past 2 years, I've picked up the Infispin, and I'm still kind of getting familiar with it and still kind of learning it. Bruce Lee, he uses nunchucks in movies, and he's pretty good at it. I've seen one young martial artist out there who does nunchucks just as good, if not better, than Bruce Lee. And he's not one of those famous actors. Okay, so, and I do think that Bruce Lee was one of the best martial artists of all time. And he got, awarded the title of Sifu after he was dead by the legendary Ip Man. Not the famed Ip Man, the legendary Ip Man. The martial artist who took challenges of boxers. And I've seen some MMA fighters out there try to argue the facts. You got some facts, right? You've got the Ip Man was already famous before Bruce Lee rose to fame. He was called legendary for a reason. And the timeline of when they altered the rules of boxing lines up with a famed match. And they've denied it even back in 2014 when that MMA fighter died in a real street fight against a scrawny guy who had a knife. Didn't know how to use it. He just pulled a knife, wasn't even trained in it. And he died. He ducked in. He basically got stabbed up in the carotid artery and died. Those are the facts. An MMA champion died in a street fight against a scrawny guy who pulled a knife, didn't even know how to use it. And the Ip Man, the knife was part of the art he taught. Okay. There's a lot of moves with the nunchaku that is not made public knowledge. It is known as a striking weapon, and it is a striking weapon. Most people don't know that it is also a very powerful grappling weapon, especially with throws and neck breaks. I will not cover neck breaks in these videos. That should not be made public knowledge. Okay. So if you like my video, feel free to hit like hard like a ninja and subscribe to my channel to be alerted for when I do videos on YouTube. And you can check me out on Facebook under my artist name, Mel-El, or my 10th ninja name. That's M-E-L-E-L. And comment on this video, especially if you'd like to comment. And of course, you can share my video with people who are ninja, but not with people who ought to be ninja, because they might accidentally learn something. And until next time, stay ninja, my friends. Oh, yes, there's also one more thing I would like to cover, and that, of course, is you can always build on what you have, right? Like I've picked up different moves on the nunchuck. It's not particular to a form that I practice, but as Bruce Lee has said, don't get hung up on form or style. Make it yours, right? You can, like with a kaida, kaidas are there to preserve the art of a traditional style or art. And there are little secrets hidden in there, a lot of times, that the masters would not let that be public knowledge. The masters of that art, okay? Those little secrets are hidden there so that the student trains the motion and does not know how it applies until the master trusts them, and by then the person is already good enough at the technique. They've already developed the motor skill for it by practicing it over and over. Okay, but Bruce Lee said don't get hung up on style. So if you already move, if you already know how to move in a form, you can build on that. Like if you practice like a kung fu style and you do a lot of pivots, you can build on that. You can build on the pivot. If you practice a karate form, sometimes there's movements like typically linear, like front and back. If you're a boxer, you can build on that by adding like a simple strike, right? You see, like Bruce Lee was the original one who mixed different martial arts together. Then like the Israeli SF was like, this is a good idea, let's take all the masters of those arts. So over 300 different forms, the masters of different forms got together and formed Krav Maga. But Bruce Lee's art of Jeet Kune Do was like the original mixed of different martial arts styles. And then now you've got these competitions that use the words mixed martial arts and like UFC or what have you. Those are sports. And I see there are some people who try to make neck breaks public knowledge, and they get criticized for it, and good reason, typically because the techniques that they're showing. I haven't seen a good one out there that's accurate.